Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're going to do Vanity by Black Caravan Comics, Act 1, by Jurii, Kirnev, and Natalia Tsarevnikova. Jesus, I'm sorry, my foreign language generator in my head doesn't work always. So what is this? I found this by accident because I was, remember the reviews I did on We Don't Kill Spiders, also by Black Caravan. So this is my second, not my second comic, but my second imprint or volume or title. Yeah, that's the word of this series, because Joseph Schmalke, who is the artist here on this cover, I was very impressed with his work, his writing skills especially, and I saw that he was involved in this project too. So I thought to myself, I'm gonna take a chance and see what it's all about, because there's only 3 issues, and I have 2 of them, and the other one is in pre-order, so I'm getting that later. I really like this cover, blood red with the black and the white and the grays, and the snake creeping around her. So what is this all about? This is about the lore or legend, or however you call it, about the Blood Countess Elizabeth Bathory. She was terrorizing the neighborhood in the 1600s in, I believe, in Hungary or Slovenia, and in those regions, I guess. And she killed 600, according to legend, 600 virgins. Because she thought that she would be young forever and gain immortality through virgin's blood. Great stuff. And I never had a comic of this particular person about Elizabeth Bathory. So this is a long video probably. I have a lot to talk about. Let's dive in right away. So first of all, we have a lot of text that gives me a brain aneurysm. We're gonna skip that because it's just a text about, the person that is involved in this comic, this Rein-Hagen or something. I'm not going to read that. So it's in the night, and we are in the place in 1614 in I looked it up real quick. It's pronounced, I believe. Is it pronounced? I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so let's skip that part. So we see these guys, they go into a grave and they were digging the dirt because they, look at this upside down cross. And this guy says, hey, what are we doing here in the middle of the night? And he says, the other one says, well, if you don't rebury the body tonight, the villagers will burn down the whole cemetery. The locals will be furious. But why? Who is this man? It's not a man, a woman. A woman? Yes, a countess. But why is a countess buried in a roadside cemetery along the thieves and whores? And then they want to put in a casket with the body. And then and they say, or the other one says, she said, we're going to bury her because no one else would dare to do it. And we're coming back a little bit later about how dark the book is. I mean, visually, but also through writing. And have you ever heard about the Tigress of the Castle? No, never. Who is that? The most beautiful woman in these lands and the most bloodthirsty, a pure devil in flesh. And what did she do? We really don't know. You clueless? He says, you really don't know? You clueless? And then another person comes, I believe maybe a grave caretaker or something. And he says, what in the name of the Lord is this, grave diggers? Stop right here. Huh? Oh, Christ, the other one says. And he asks what they are doing here, and they need to leave. And he says, calm down, we have an order. And so he shows it to them. So what's this? Explain. Don't show it to me. I can't read. That's great stuff. And the other says, well, I can't read either. But here's the Palatine seal. See? Count Turzo? Fine. We hear threats from victims' families every day. Get this wretched corpse away from here. So they need to go somewhere else. And then they So they have to leave, and he says, "Was this lady this dreadful? I can't believe you never heard of her." But then the casket falls from the I'm not sure how you call this, a wagon. I'm not sure. And I said, "Oh man, what a night! I truly don't know who she is. Can you at least tell me her name? Her name, huh?" Locals call her Tigress of this name. Others call her the Blood Hunters. And then her real name was Elizabeth. Well, I call her Elizabeth because that's the lore. Well, these are Polish Slovakian names. I cannot pronounce that or remember that in a good manner. So now we see the birth. Okay, Jesus Christ, birth of Elizabeth, and she has a child. And I believe if you can see this here, I believe the artist made a little bit of a mistake. Maybe the colorist. So she has the child here, but then she is. When I look at this picture, I thought to myself, where is the child? She's just holding an invisible child, but then here between her arms is the child. But since it has the same color as her dress, yeah. Okay. Anyway, so skipping because her, I don't know, not sure, her husband comes in, and her husband is the count, I'm sorry, that is the, is Jurii. He is, I don't know, a count or something. He said, "Where is my second-born son? Step aside, woman. Countess Anna's need rest. Count Jurii, let's call him Gregory." And she says, "I have a daughter," and he is not pleased, and he walks away in silence. And then we see Acta Prima Aqua, and she is, well, being baptized in the church. And they say, I'm quoting because I saw this in a movie, so let's try it. "In nomine Petris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen." Did I do a good job? I don't know. And and then a count comes. "Here's your generous donation, Padre. What is this, silver? The richest family in the entire kingdom, and yet they are stingy with their gold." And then he said, then this the other one, I don't know, says, why didn't you drown the girl? What? "Your child is obviously ill, and this child is obviously ill and weak." "That's right. We usually drown the ill and the godforsaken children." What? Is that? But then he says the Bathory family live well under due to their donations to the church. Aha, bribery, I thought to myself. Yes. So he tells, well, I'm not sure if this is telling a tale, but then he says, "But is it right to put silver above God's will?" And then he quotes the Bible, I guess. "That is the Lord of our Lords, the law of our Lords. I think I understand now." But also, probably that's not how it's being depicted, I guess. I'm not, okay, not going into that. But what he actually is saying, so here's the translation. I like that as well. He says, the Latin Bible quote, Matthew 16:19, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." Now, wait a minute. I have a question. So that means if you are a good person and maybe believe in the Lord, and you are poor and you don't have a home, and when you die you go to heaven, you are still poor and you don't have a home, so you're still miserable for the rest of your life? Is that how it works? Please don't say that. I'm sorry, that was so funny. So in this comic we also move in time. So we see Elizabeth growing up, but we don't actually see her, and I'm going to show you why. Because this is in September 1566, and they say Elizabeth, and from now on we see only her hands and what she sees through her eyes. And I wasn't prepared for that because I was expecting just quote unquote normal comic, and then we just switched from first person view and telling the story through time. And I thought to myself, wait a minute, that is actually pretty cool. yeah, so that's great stuff. So she's being learned by teachers how to write properly, because the teacher says that if you can write grammatically correct, it's like magic. If you spell correctly, miracles can happen. But then they heard a sound outside, and there's somebody throwing a stone at the window. And then we have this woman. She's a thief, and she is being, I don't know, killed, and that's why she's doing this. She don't want to see it, by the guards. This bitch is dead. And she says, why did they kill her? She was a thief, I guess. No one should take what doesn't belong to them. Promise you will never do that. All right. Then we see the dead woman. I promise. Great stuff. Coming back a little bit to the art. The art reminds me a lot of We Don't Kill Spiders, from David Schmalke, this guy. And in the beginning, I thought, oh no, more hatching stuff. And when I read the We Don't Kill Spider comics, I was a little bit, I didn't like that. But since the writing was so cool and great and sharp, I looked through it. I took a step back and reread it, and then the other comics as well. And I thought to myself, yes, this art is perfectly for this comic. And this art, although it's not the same as Joseph Schmalke, but very, very similar, is exactly the same. Although Joseph Schmalke's art is very close up. And what you can see, and what you're going to see here is a lot of, a little bit close-ups and different perspectives and other angles, and also through the visuals, just like me. I mean, you're seeing my hands, and I'm looking through this camera lens that I have up here, and we see exactly with how this comic is flowing through time with Elizabeth. She's doing the same as me. I'm this is great. It's amazing. So getting also, she's being taught how to. She must be good with the needle, and then. But there's also some politics in here, but then the good kind. She says, "I saw my nanny get killed. Oh, poor child! That woman was a thief. She murdered her own brother. Murderers go to hell. Is my father going to hell? We killed men at war." "No, child. Your father is fighting for the good cause. He serves our dear God and will go to heaven, just like you. If I want to go to heaven, must I serve God?" "Of course, but I'm a countess, not a servant. When I grow up, I order my army to conquer heaven, and I will serve no one." Elizabeth, don't say that. It's your pride talking, that she's sucking on the blood. So the corruption starts already here. She's being spoiled, and she thinks she's already better than other people. And now she has to pray to God, to Jesus. And then she says, okay, noble lady must pray for going to bed. And then she's going to do that. And then we see this angle, and I thought to myself, I mean, is she lying in bed? But no, it's, doing this chest cross-thing stuff with your head bowing to the ground. And then if you do that in real life, you exactly, see a view like this. Really cool done. I mean, I haven't thought about that. When I look down, I see exactly the same pose. But then she says, "I don't know how to do it right." "Oh, haha, look at this stupid face, Elspeth." And then, again, cross upside down. What does that mean? Well, also, she learns how to fence a sword, but she's cheating because he's using two hands. And he's one. And she says, "Put the sword away. A noble lady should never threaten those who are defenseless." Again, she is very rebellious, doing what she wants, and she's being taught. Also, the color palette is very, very nice. I mean, look at this. It's nice, very nice to look at. I like that. "A noble lady must how to use a knife. I don't need a knife. I can always ask my servants to cut anything I need." And but the other one says, a lady must appreciate beauty and preserve it. And then we see the forms. Yes, and so it goes a little bit on, and then like the piano playing. So she's doing that, and but then her father and mother comes in. I also love how this did has been drawn. Like it's a black and white old film with a lot of grain and stuff that you cannot see the edges. Very cool done. Elizabeth should marry Tamas Nardasi's son. Natalia is a noble family, but isn't it too early to talk about it? Our daughter is only 10. We lost most of our army, and we are losing influence, like sand in an hourglass. But we are still rich, aren't we? Yes, but without an army or a wealth, and our army, our wealth won't save us. On the contrary, it will attract more enemies. Natalia always has been our allies, but they are not from our noble bloodline, and they support Protestants. Protestants, is that how you say it? Purity of noble blood has always been a priority in the Bathory family. Okay, what is this? Game of Thrones? There's a lot of intrigue here. And then if Erzi marries, Erzi is the short term of Elizabeth, the son of Natalia, the Bathory family will become the most powerful family in the kingdom. We will be more influential than the king. Oh, so be it. I will give you my blessing. And so they go talk to her daughter while she's playing the piano. It's I don't know, man. There's a lot of going on here. Very smartly done. And then we also have some witty banter. Well, I think it was funny. So, Elizabeth, you must behave. We're going to meet your future husband. Am I going to have a big wedding? Yes, but you must bloom first. Okay. Is he handsome? Who? My future husband. I don't know. I heard he is 15. He is too old for me. I cracked it. This is the second time I laughed at it. I'm sorry. It's just too funny. And she says, 5 years is not a big distance. Trust me. Does he live in a big castle? When I grow up, I want to have my own castle. You know, like I said, there's a lot of I want from Elizabeth. She's being spoiled. So she's getting introduced to the other family that she's going to get married in the future, and then they praise her how well she is in other languages, and the other one says, well, my son isn't very bad at studying, but because he likes warfare more. And then the father says, a true warrior should not spend time with dusty books. Yeah, that's how it was in those times. I love it. There's a lot of quote-unquote realism here that I really, really like. And of course, this very gloom and doom surroundings with rain and dreary colors, etc. So they're having a feast, and they're getting introduced to the family and to her future husband. Again, looking from the perspective, skipping through time, her parents died. Going from a peaceful wedding and having people having fun, we go to putting people into graves, I guess, if you wanted to say it macabrely. That's not a word, being macabre. Macabre? I don't know. So she's, saying goodbye, and I really love this stuff here. And also this woman here is the mother of her future husband. She's sick. She says, oh, I guess I'll join them very soon. What is going on? A lot of gloom and doom in this comic. And so she is now in 1572. She must go having a bath, but she cannot do it nakedly because nudity is a shame. You are no longer a small child. And she doesn't want to take a bath with clothes on. And she also says, dear Elizabeth, it's time stop wearing black clothes. You've been mourning for too long. This family has been seen many deaths, but it's been more than a year. It's time to move on. And then she's going into the bath, and then she is having her period for the very, very, very first time. Maybe that's a tradition that they have to do this all the time. I'm not entirely sure. But then this happens. I'm not sure if this is what she sees in IRL, in real life. You see a hand, the snake, rotten fruit, an owl. And then she also sees this. This is wonderful, she says. I mean, is this an illusion? Is she going crazy? Or, is she smoking shrooms? I don't know. Maybe she is it's an illusion, maybe. Or whatever it is. But she sees this with the black moon on the back. Wow. Awesome. And so her servant says, Sorry for the bad resolution, the lighting. Are you all right? You are pale. Blood. Miracle, you bloomed. You finally get married. But why am I bleeding? Your mother didn't tell you? From now on, you'll be losing blood every moon. But I don't want to lose blood. And then she talks about Adam and Eve, about the sin. And there was a curse of blood, the original sin. The second being, I don't know, losing blood every month was the first sin, I believe. And then the second one was the curse of childbirth. And Eve gave birth to Cain from flesh and blood. And the delivery was in the most horrible agony, giving birth. I just saw the first woman on earth, and it wasn't Eve. Was it the devil? I don't know. But it's great. And then we see her for the very first time. This is Elizabeth Bathory. And then they say, every woman must pray to God and ask for his mercy. And when you redeem your debt, God will forgive you. He free you from blood and childbirth. God also take away your beauty, since it's a devil's tool. What? I don't want to lose my beauty, she says. But don't worry about that. You are so young, but one day it will happen. That is God's will. But what does it mean? Am I cursed? Of course not. It simply means that you are a woman. Wow. That is the end for Act 1. What a great book. This is so cool. This is awesome. I hadn't expected this at all. I thought, you know what, an indie comic, talking about, murdering people, and it's got probably in volume 2 and volume 3 is going to happen, I guess, or issue 1 and 2, 2 and 3. I mean, sorry, rambling. But I didn't expect this. This is freaking awesome. I like this very much. And we are at the 21-minute mark, so I need to stop. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about it. See you next time. Bye-bye.